we have a shocking Miami Heat update as a deal that nobody saw coming is looking like reality as Pat Riley's days being the head of the Miami Heat appear to be numbered. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat need to find a way to rebuild, and with all the talks of them targeting superstars like LeBron James, but obviously others as well, we have a lot to go over. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Heat Digest. It's Chris here. We're going to jump right into things as always. If you guys are part of that 83% that's not subscribed to Heat Digest, make sure to subscribe right now because there is a lot to go over in this video. As we know, Pat Riley has been one of the most excellent presidents of basketball operations that has ran any team in really NBA history when you think about it. Riley has overseen some greatness, whether it's acquiring Shaq, getting that whole situation done with the 2006 NBA Finals, and then also continuing to be a good team. Good enough that LeBron James would evidently go and sign with the Heat, forming the Big Three, collecting 2 more championships, and then the Jimmy Butler move where Pat Riley showed that he still had a lot left in the tank when it came to making contending teams. Obviously, twice those teams would see the NBA Finals. And look, at the end of the day, what we were able to see from this whole situation is that Riley is great. However, as time has went on and Pat Riley nearing 80 years old, there's been a lot of calls for who the next president of basketball operations is going to be. And you know Pat Riley wants to choose a successor who he very much believes is going to be great. Now, obviously, the thought of Eric Spoelstra will come to mind. However, Spo is still young and he is the coach of this team. And I don't really want to see Eric Spoelstra become the president of basketball operations as well, because I like that he's fully focused on being the head coach. Now, if Spo wanted to do what Brad Stevens did and move into the front office, I'm not going to tell Spo to stop and continue to being the head coach. The man has won enough as a head coach that if he wants to call it, he can obviously do that. But no signs are indicating that that is at all what Spo wants to do, so there's no reason to even really go over that scenario. However, a very real scenario that we are looking at is this guy right here, one of the best executives in the NBA. However, right now, he's not in the NBA because Masai Ujiri obviously did get fired from the Toronto Raptors in a move that really made no sense for anyone involved. And everyone does blame MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports Group, who own the Raptors as well, for that move as they decided to shake things up in ways that nobody understands. Now, if you want to break down, or nobody understands, but there is like reasoning behind it. Now, if you want a full breakdown of that, check out Ben Rogers on Raptors Digest. He can explain all of that a million times better than me because he's been doing Raptors Digest for 7 years. So the man understands everything when it comes to the Toronto Raptors. I actually just texted him, what does Grievous Vasquez mean to you on a scale from 1 to 10? So I have to wait for a response on that one from Ben. But diving into the video, there is a lot to discuss with Masai Ujiri, as Michael Grange, who is a reporter up in Canada in regards to Toronto sports teams and just Canada sports in general, he said, when I was in Las Vegas for Summer League, the first questions anyone from any other organizations or other NBA media had for me was centered around Ujiri. Why MLSE president Keith Pelly decided to let him go and what Ujiri will do next. The first part has been well covered. Again, check out Ben Rogers for the best updates on that. But the latter, not as much. The short answer to that is he'll do whatever he wants. And the idea that was floated from this situation was Grange saying longer term, he would be an attractive candidate to head an expansion team, which is now firmly on the NBA's radar. Look to Vancouver, Las Vegas, Seattle, places like that, because it will probably be west, not east, and then the Pelicans will move to the east or whatever, not the point. Or he could be an intriguing choice to run the NBA's proposed edition of an NBA-sanctioned league in Europe. In the meantime, Ujiri would be an obvious candidate for leadership roles as they open across the NBA, with some league insiders keeping an eye on the Miami Heat, given that Heat president Pat Riley recently turned 80. Now, I think it's a seamless fit. Riley's obviously been great. I'm not saying he hasn't been great. But maybe to step away from being the day-to-day guy of running the show, considering he's 80 years old, would not be the worst idea in the world. Obviously, the Heat have made good moves. I mean, for instance, one move we could point at is Norman Powell, which was a great move done by Pat Riley and co. But at the same time, Riley is getting up there. And would it really be the worst idea to bring in someone who's a little younger into this and not 80 years old? Because it's not even the fear of like, oh, is Pat Riley like still good at his job? We know he still knows ball, but he's also 80. Let's be real for a second. Do you want an 80-year-old running the show on a day-to-day basis? I know he's in good shape for an 80-year-old. I'm not saying that. but it is something to keep in the back of our heads. I definitely think we should stay aware of this all. And now, looking at some of the moves that Masai Ujiri made, we're just going to go over a few of his best decisions that was highlighted by the same network that did report this whole Ujiri to the Heat situation in the beginning. Now, the first trade that Ujiri made, his first move after taking over the decision-making, was a resounding success, and one with a trade tree that extends all the way to the championship, and that there would be more on later. Now, that trade was on July 10th, 2013, when the New York Knicks received Andrea Bargnani for Steve Novak, Marcus Camby, Quentin Richardson, a 2016 first-round pick, a 2014 second-round pick, and a 2017 second-round pick. Now, someone who's from New York, someone who's covered basketball from New York and spent time covering literally solely the Knicks, I could tell you one thing. Ask any Knicks fan in the world, who is your least favorite Knick? I guarantee you over 50% of them say Andrea Bargnani. That is not hyperbole. There's honestly a chance that 75% of them say Andrea Bargnani. Bargnani was garbage with the Knicks. There's no way around it. That's what happened. Now, was Steve Novak, Marcus Camby, Quentin Richardson, were they any good for the Raptors? Honestly, not really. Marcus Camby was going up on 48 years old. Not actually, he was like 40. But Quentin Richardson was also older, and Steve Novak couldn't capture that magic that he had in New York with the Raptors to the same degree, given he was still a solid player. At the same time, a 2016 first-round pick was sent to the Toronto Raptors. Now, that was implicated by a deal that the Knicks had made in the Carmelo Anthony trade as well, which is important to note because it was the difference between Jakob Poeltl and Jamal Murray. But as I mentioned Jakob Poeltl's name, some of you might know what's coming later on, which was this. When on July 18th, 2018, 8 days and 5 years and 8 days later, the San Antonio Spurs received DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a protected 2019 first-round pick in exchange for Danny Green and none other than Kawhi Leonard. Now, the Raptors, they traded away the guy who has most of the records with the Raptors right now is DeMar DeRozan. Most points ever scored by a Raptor, a ton of other records as well. However, Kawhi was the better player, and the Raptors had been shopping DeRozan for 2 years prior to trading him for Kawhi Leonard, and basically what happened there is, well, you know the story. Kawhi was there for 1 year and won them a championship off some phenomenal basketball, where Kawhi averaged 26.6 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 3.3 assists in the 60 games he appeared for in the Raptors. He was selected to play in his third All-Star game. He also won his second NBA Finals MVP award and his second NBA championship, when at the same time, we also, in the playoffs, saw playoff Kawhi, where he put up 30.5 points per game, 9.1 rebounds, and 4 assists in 24 games for the Raptors in that playoff run. He won his second Finals MVP and his second NBA championship award. He shot 49% from the field and 38% from through, playing some of the best defense that we've ever seen. Kawhi Leonard was that dude. It was a trade that worked out in tenfold for the Toronto Raptors. Now, yes, Kawhi Leonard did leave for the Los Angeles Clippers, but he left the Raptors with a championship and a year they would never forget. Ask any Raptors fan. Again, ask Ben Rogers, that is, Raptors Digest. Gonna plug my boy. I should also call him my boss, because he's my boss. That's not why I'm shouting him out. But when you ask any Raptors fan, they're obviously gonna say it's worth it. But if he got 1 year of any insert star here and they won a championship and they left the next year, for instance, and again, I don't want to make this a LeBron video because I did like 2 videos on LeBron to the Heat already out of like the 5 I've done to the channel. I don't want to get too interested on that, but say they acquired LeBron, he plays for 1 year, retires, and the Heat win the championship in that year. Worth it. Championship won. Success. W. Worth it. No doubt about it. So that is something that we have to be very aware of in this situation, where we continue to look at everything that happened. Now, also in that same year, the Raptors did receive Marc Gasol for Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, and a second-round pick. Not DeLon Wright, Heat legend. But Marc Gasol, he put them over the top in a lot of ways, and that's something that cannot be discounted here. So when considering everything, it's important to note this, that the Miami Heat, they could bring in Masai Ujiri, who has made phenomenal trades throughout his time. Now, no matter who you trade for, and again, I'm using LeBron as a reference because he's been linked to the Heat a bunch. I'm not necessarily saying LeBron, but whoever the Heat would want to trade for under Ujiri, you have guys to move in a package. I mean, for instance, one guy you just picked up, Norman Powell, put up 22 points per game last year, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. He's been floated as a potential trade chip because of his good contract and the fact that he's a good player. Shot 42% from 3, 48% from the field. Or the Heat could hold on to Powell, use him as at the guard spot next to Tyler Herro, and boom, you got a pretty good team going right there. That could make some noise in an Eastern Conference that's hampered right now due to 2 Achilles injuries to Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum. Now, if you want to go get a guy like LeBron, who put up 24.4 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists last year, shooting 51% from the field and 37% from 3, it does put the Heat right back at the top of the Eastern Conference. Something that could be a good move. And again, you could change LeBron out for other stars, but it feels like if anyone's going to get traded right now, it would be LeBron, and it probably would be to Miami. So that's why I'm using him as this reference point. Again, I'm trying to not act like I'm just trying to push LeBron to the Heat all the time. That's really why I keep saying that. Anyone else as well. But it could be anyone. Any star that emerges. The Heat would have Masai Ujiri, one of the best at pulling off great trades for his team. The Heat should do everything in their power to have Ujiri be Pat Riley's successor. I imagine it's a job Ujiri would be interested in, and I would like to see it happen personally. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I will catch you on the next one.